Okay, I got my hood on. I'm talking about biker stuff. So on June 29th, Sonny Barger, who people associate or think of as the founder of the Hells Angels, which he was not, but he is the guy. He was the president of the Oakland chapter. Later, thinking about 1980, became the national president. He's most highly associated with the Angels, and he shepherded them into pop culture infamy, but also into a money-making machine. Hell's Angels logo is something you do not want to print out or try to use to sell or put in a movie because they're very litigious, which means they will sue you. And as far as their weight in the street, at least here on the West Coast, any white criminal of a high level that was making real money out here and different things, who's not associated with some other group of people, he's just like a white guy making money, they all seem to they don't even want to say the name Hells Angels. Not forget on camera, they don't even say it. So that's interesting. So Sonny Barger died June 29th, and something else happened on June 29th. The Las Vegas chapter of the Hells Angels was raided. And the feds have, they've intermittently called the Hells Angels the Sixth Mafia family. Hells Angels are certainly a crime powerhouse in Canada. Now, what amount of what's said about biker gangs in the United States, one percenter clubs, pagans, outlaws, Hells Angels, Mongols, Vagos, what percentage of that is true and what percentage of that is hype is an interesting topic. I'm going to go more into some biker stuff, but came across a talk from, he sounded like a federal agent. What was the context he was talking in? But he was talking about how the ATF had basically turned, and not one of the, he wouldn't say the club's name. I think I can figure out who it is, and I might talk about that later. It's not one of the big four or even one of the most famous ones, but it's, you may have heard of it depending what part of the country you're in, that it had become totally infiltrated with federal agents, and that they were using women from that club to infiltrate other clubs. And they talked about, so the pagans a few years ago had started this Blue Wave initiative to get more territory, and it was working. But then when their national president, Keith Conan the Barbarian Richter, got pulled over leaving an event with a pistol in his stash spot, and they knew where it was at, he just had to go away for a few years. So that's kind of slowed down the Blue Wave. And this guy talking was basically implying, like, well, how do you pull over the club president and the police know where his stash spot is at? Obviously, somebody's dropping a dime. But anyways, so the Hells Angels have been priority number one for a long time. They tried to put they gave Sonny Barger a murder charge in the 70s. I think he beat that, or he got a couple years. He got drug charges. He was an admitted cocaine addict and heroin dealer. He did some time for that. And then around 77, they tried to they charged him with conspiracy to bomb rival clubhouses. There was a big methamphetamine case, but Barger, I think, only ended up doing, he might have did 5 years in the feds and a few years somewhere else. But on June 29th, they raided the Las Vegas. That was the same day Barger died. Probably coincidence, maybe not. And why they did is because on Memorial Day, this has been charged in court. It hasn't been proven, so we'll say it's alleged that at least 3 Hells Angels, because they've been charged, ambushed a bunch of Vagos after leaving a veterans thing on Memorial Day. They did it around the Hoover Dam on the freeway. So a lot of these biker shootouts, and there's another one I'm going to reference, are happening on freeways. You may have known of a couple famous ones that happened in Vegas casinos. And then, of course, there was the big Waco one, which I'm going to do a story on this month, which is crazy. All the 11 people killed, thousands of rounds of ammunition. and the feds and the state had to drop all charges. But we'll get into that story. So 6 Vagos shot, none died. 3 Hells Angels are charged with it out of the Las Vegas chapter. Now, what was that all about? Well, on Memorial Day, like I said, they shot 6 Vagos, but earlier in May in San Bernardino, my temporary second home in California during the pandemic, I have to say I'm glad I'm out of there. Shout out to my San Bernardino guys, though. I got a lot of good friends out there, but that's might be the murder capital of California. San Bernardino is bad. We had some wild incidents at the building I had out there, and there was a heavy metal concert, and in a heavy metal like kind of gathering or something. And I think there was like an after concert at a club, the Majestic Lounge or something. What was it called? Marquee Lounge in San Bernardino. San Bernardino is like it was probably never nice. It's one of those places that was built. It's big hub. It's near the Ontario airport. It's maybe an hour and 20 minutes directly east of LA. So it's like a logistics center, like a lot of trucking, railroad lines. It's where things, manufactured goods coming in from Mexico, China, or made in Southern California, leave to be dispersed around the country. Houses aren't nice. It's not one of those places that look like it was ever nice, and it's rough. It's gang problems, prostitution, poverty. It's just a depressing place. I call it the Detroit of California. Anyways, there was a heavy metal band called Crawling Through Tartarus, which I don't know, that probably has some meaning. And they were playing in this Marquee Lounge in San Bernardino, and boom, 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 boom. 3 members of the band got shot on stage. Luckily, they all lived. But a 4th guy, who was a Hells Angel named James Vincent Dixon, he died. And they think that's, and law enforcement, no one's charging that, but law enforcement must think the Vagos, who they have a clubhouse in the Palm Springs area. So like where my desert estate is at, that's Vagos territory. My young cousin was in the Vagos bar, and he said he saw some of them, seemed mildly intimidating. And you see him riding on the road out there, a lot of biker action out in the desert and here in Southern California. And there's a big war over Southern California between the Hells Angels and the Mongols, which are of course, the LA homegrown or Southern California homegrown. Didn't start Hispanic, but has a lot of Hispanics in it now. A lot of Serranos have gone into the Mongols, and that whole MA versus Mongols thing. There's a lot of stuff online about that, but that's a separate story. So the shooting on the freeway near the Hoover Dam of 6 Vagos is thought to be revenge against them for the murder of a Hells Angel at a bar in San Bernardino. And the Outlaws and the Hells Angels have kind of been at it for years over supremacy. Hells Angels, I guess, kind of beat that attempt back, but the Pagans and the Outlaws and the Vagos, a lot of those bigger groups that used to be on their own have formed these loose alliances to go against the Hells Angels, and the Vagos are part of that. They have their own beef with the Hells Angels, and that goes back probably to 2011 in Sparks, Nevada, in which the president of the San Jose chapter of the Hells Angels was killed at, I think, a Starbucks in Sparks, Nevada, which is right next to Reno. And if you look on a map, if you drive, there's a freeway that goes straight from like the Sacramento, San Jose area. Instead of going to Vegas, it goes straight to Reno. That's way north in Nevada. It's like quite a bit, several hours north of, maybe 5 hours north of Vegas. And Sparks, which is probably, well, Reno's not that big, so Sparks is like the suburb of Reno. there was a shooting so they killed, let's see what happened. They killed the Vagos, they ran into each other. Oh, yeah, so the Vagos and the Hells Angels had a shootout in the Gold Nugget up there, and there were 2 Vagos hit. The leader, or the president of the San Jose chapter of the Hells Angels, died. And then another guy got shot at a Starbucks or something in the morning. This is in 2011. So the city of Sparks actually declared a state of emergency. They were so fearful because remember, this is coming off of, you had the '02 Laughlin, Nevada, huge, you've seen footage of that before, where the Hells Angels and I think it was the Mongols attacking each other with hammers, shooting each other on the floor of a huge casino with families and stuff there, and there were several people killed, and the fallout from that went on for a long time. So, you know, even being here in LA, like the gangs, there's less violence than there could be because the gangs studiously avoid each other, the big ones. And the bikers, I mean, they're not even tied to, like, you know, a neighborhood in LA. I mean, LA is big enough that the gangs here can generally avoid each other, you know, for the most part. Well, bikers, I mean, really can avoid each other. They run into each other in different bars, or occasionally a bunch of them, you know, bump into each other at a casino. The Vagos are felt to have gunned down in their territory in San Bernardino a Hells Angel. So then they shot 6 of them on the highway in a big shootout on Memorial Day near the Hoover Dam. 3 of them charged with attempted murder. June 29th, Sonny Barger, rest in peace. Not the founder, but probably the most famous and the most important Hells Angel. He died, and on the same day they raided the Las Vegas headquarters of the Hells Angels in connection to that. Well, it's not an alleged ambush. It's just alleged that the Hells Angels did it. It was an ambush, and 6 Vagos were shot. There's some other highway shootings been going on, so it's just a little quick overview of some biker stuff and that theme about does the ATF infiltrate and make biker things seem more extreme than they are. Though some biker stuff clearly does happen because I'm talking about it. But they get big money for doing these RICO cases. You know, just like, you know, they raid public housing projects in Harlem and arrest 100 people, and you look and it's like, oh, they got 2 grams of crack and a gun. Why was this a RICO case? Some of the biker things are like that too. We'll see how it plays out. Al Prophet, Biker News, American Dope.